All right, man. Huge win here for the Warriors last night against the Mavericks in San Francisco. This was the makeup game, obviously, when Dayon passed away. The Warriors took about a week off, so a few of those games have been pushed back. This was one of those games, and I was saying to a friend before the game started, I wonder if the team knows that this is one of the canceled games. Maybe that could light a spark under them. The Warriors have really struggled at home, and it's all about, especially in the dog days of every season, these guys are old, they're tired, they're trying to get into the playoffs, they're trying to just hold on and get in and then try and make some noise. This is just one of those times where you just cling to any motivation you can possibly find. And I was thinking, maybe they know that this is one of those games where it's like, you got to win it for Decky. You got to win it for Decky. This is that game where you got to do it. You got to make something happen. And I got to tell you, man, the Warriors took that second half of defensive basketball they played against the San Antonio Spurs and played 4 quarters of incredible defense. Incredible defense. Obviously, in the previous matchups this season, the Mavericks have not gotten to see Draymond, so that was a pretty big deal. And the Warriors, have been a little hit or miss against the Mavericks. It's a tough matchup. It's a tough matchup. They hadn't had scoring the first time they faced, and the second time, I think the Warriors, I don't remember if they won or lost, but without Draymond, the defense just ain't the same. The defense just isn't the same. So, and especially the way he's defending right now. I mean, Draymond's playing the best stretch of basketball he's played all season long, if not in the last year or two. So, it's just the Warriors look like a different team at the moment because of how well Draymond's played. And don't even forget that TrayceJackson-Davis starting really has helped this defense along as far as rim protection. And then offensively, just giving Steph new looks, but just giving the entire offense a new, new life, so to speak. I think it's really opened things up. And it helped against this Mavericks team, which has played some solid basketball of late, but the Warriors showed in those Western Conference Finals a couple years ago, they could play some really good defense on Luka. And even though Luka had himself quite the night, I think the Warriors overall did a very good job at defending him. They did an all right job on Kyrie as well, but they just, once again, like they did in that second half against the Spurs, closing out very hard. When they switched with a purpose, and then they got back or they rotated. They did everything with the purpose, everything with maximum effort. There were no weak closeouts, even on situations where maybe Draymond was a little too close to the paint to try and make up for a Luka pick and roll or something. If he was too close, that closeout was going to be hard as hell. The Warriors were right in their face contesting shots, and only a couple times did the Mavericks really have wide open looks. So I thought the Warriors' defense was just unbelievable in this game, and ultimately that's why I think they won. But also to pair with that, the first half, just like against the Spurs, the Warriors were just turning the ball over relentlessly. The Warriors had 11 turnovers in this first half, and most of them, if not all of them, were just dumb. The Mavericks were not forcing turnovers. It was just dumb passes by the Warriors that are just like dumb passes, dribbling off of yourself, throwing it away, trying to save the ball, and then throwing it right to the Mavericks to send them off in transition. Just a lot of dumb mistakes that were leading to open Mavericks shots that ultimately got the Mavericks not only back into a game when they were down 13 points, but ended up giving them a lead into the third quarter. And so I thought the Warriors had to, tighten things up as they did in that Spurs game, and they did it again. They went from 11 turnovers to 6, but I think they only had 1 turnover in that fourth quarter. So that was huge. Just completely flipping the game. When the Warriors can defend and take care of the ball, they're just a different team, man. Sorry, I'm rubbing my nose. I sneezed like 20 fucking times before I pressed record. So right now, like, my face is all out of whack. But anyways, this was a very big win. This now makes it 5 straight for the Warriors. They are now only 3.5 games back out of the 7 seed. 4 games, or I think 3 full games. Let me see one more time. 3 games back out of the 7 seed. 4 games back out of the 60. Now, there's only 8 games left in the season. There's only 8 games left, so the likelihood that the Warriors sneak up into the 6th seed is, I would say, slim to none, but who knows? You know, anything could happen. All you need is multiple losing streaks and the Warriors to just keep winning, but, you know, never say never, right? However, I do think the Warriors have a chance to slip into the 9 seed. I actually do. The Lakers, everybody in this play-in right now, the Kings are on a 2-game win streak, the Suns are on a 1-game win streak, the Lakers are on a 2-game win streak, and then the Warriors, like I said, 5-game win streak. It's going to be tough, but I think if the Warriors keep playing the defense they've played, and if they just take a little bit better care of the ball, they're going to be just fine. I think they could do it. I think they could do it, at least make it into the 9 seed and just get a little bit of home court advantage so they don't have to play 2 games in this play-in tournament, because that's just kind of a pain in the ass, right? You want to make it to the 7th or 8th seed if you can, but if you do get the 9th seed, at least you get home court. So that's you know, it's something to go into, right? But yeah, man, huge game for the Warriors. I wanted to talk about, I already talked about a little bit about the defense and just how well they play, but that's just completely been anchored by Draymond Green, who's, like I said, playing the best basketball of this season right now in this last 2-3 game stretch here. I don't know, you know, at this point I'm thinking maybe it's because he was pissed at himself for what happened against the Magic, and he's just been on another level right now trying to make it up to everybody. But after that Magic ejection, Draymond's been absolutely playing out of his mind. Absolutely out of his mind. And, you know, like I said in the last video, you take what you get with Draymond as far as like personality and stupid mistakes like getting ejected, because this is the game-changing play he can give you. That block against Daniel Gafford, the block, the rebound, sends it in transition, runs a pick and roll for himself a couple plays later, scores. He almost got an and one if he got the continuation right before that. So he would have had an and one and then that pick and roll score. I mean, Draymond, he's just such a good player, man. He's just such a good player that can genuinely take over a game in a different way than you really ultimately think players can. It's like, I play a lot of card games. It's like a control deck. He's not winning by just hitting you with brute force. He's controlling the game. And there's nothing you can really do because he's just that smart and that talented defensively with the wingspan, his ability to get back, to retreat, know where he needs to be positionally, his ability to help at all times, always close out hard and really contest shots like nobody else. Rebounding, he's really good at boxing out. He's always he's tipping the ball to other players. He's not someone who just has to pull it down. Like, he knows where to send the ball if it needs to get tipped. Playmaking, obviously, he's one of the best like big men playmakers ever. Not just of this generation, but ever. And then scoring, that, you know, that little fake dribble handoff, guys he knows aren't going to try and guard him, so he knows we're going to take advantage, and he's been more aggressive than he's been in quite a while this season. And so I think Draymond is, you know, you just take what you could get. You take what you could get because this is the kind of stuff that he can provide. But on top of Draymond's impact tonight, last night defensively, Andrew Wiggins, man. Andrew Wiggins is playing like his 2022 self. And I know I've had many things to say about Wiggins before the trade deadline. He was just like, let's not even pretend that he wasn't like playing like I mean, obviously was the worst basketball of his career, but he, like, AAV wise, average annual value, he might have had the worst in the league with how poorly he was playing up to his contract. I mean, it was just horrendous. The defense was terrible. He wasn't rebounding. He wasn't playmaking. He wasn't scoring. And everything was inefficient. High fouls. It was just really, really bad from Wiggins. But he has been playing better and better and better. The three-point shots come along. The defense has been elite since early February. But the number one thing in these last, like, 4 or 5 games for Wiggins, the aggressiveness offensively is there. And personally, I think it's because Kuminga's out. I think Kuminga being there kind of hurts Wiggins because both of them want to do the same thing and work in the same area, so you're limiting Wiggins a little bit. And it's kind of like the Rockets, and Dominic and I talked about it with Jalen Green. Alperen Şengün's a fantastic player. But Alperen Şengün's skill set sort of counters what Jalen Green wants to do. And you've seen how good Jalen Green is when Alperen Şengün isn't playing. He just has an open lane, open ability to do stuff. He's not getting clogged up. And the aggressiveness from Jalen Green, the efficiency, it's all up. He's doing everything right. And it feels like it's the same with Wiggins. Now that Kuminga's gone, I think Andrew Wiggins, the cogs have turned and he's found it. He's found where he was before. And it's fantastic to see. You know, tonight, Wiggins was able to give the Warriors 23 points on 8 of 16 shooting, 3 of 5 from the field. And like I've said many times this season, the improved free throwing, 4 of 4 from the line. He did have 3 turnovers. A couple of them were stupid, but like I said, the Warriors in the first half were just dribbling it off themselves, throwing it all. We know how the Warriors are. But he just played spectacular basketball. But defensively, like in those Western Conference Finals in 2022, he just does a number on Luka, man. Andrew Wiggins on Luka Doncic is just such a fun matchup to watch because Wiggins is so good against him. He's so good. Like, Luka's going to hit the crazy tough shots. It's like Steph. You just live with it. Some of the shots Luka was hitting, it was like, what are you even going to do about that? That's just ridiculous, you know? You can't even fault Wiggins. That's fantastic defense, better offense. That's basketball. You know, you live, you move on, right? But Andrew Wiggins played so well against him. He got a couple big blocks on him, stealing the ball, just doing everything he can to make the life difficult for Luka. And that's all you could really ask for. We saw it in 2021 in the play-in against LeBron. Wiggins was even causing him problems. Like, when Wiggins can play this level of defense and then give you that offense, but that aggressiveness on offense, he's just a different animal, man. He's a different animal. And frankly, like I said in the last one, you're kind of seeing that Jonathan Kuminga, I don't really know if he's needed out there. You know, I don't want to be that guy. I'm not a Kuminga hater. I've been saying I like the guy. I just need to give criticism where it is and got to be honest about things. And Andrew Wiggins, I said when the trade deadline happened, I told everyone, I said in my video, I was like, if Andrew Wiggins gets back to where he needs to be, don't be shocked if Jonathan Kuminga is either out of the rotation in the playoffs or if he's playing off the bench. Because right now, Andrew Wiggins is playing like his old self. And I mean, it's not even close, the level of defender Wiggins is to Kuminga. It's just not even close. Kuminga is not even half the defender of Andrew Wiggins. All right. And then offensively, Wiggins is still a 3-level scorer. People like, I know he hasn't been that great this season, and he's only really starting to come alive in these last 2 months. But Andrew Wiggins can score anywhere. You know, it's just about, is he aggressive enough? And these last 4 or 5 games, he's shown that aggressiveness. And because of it, that's dangerous, man. That's dangerous for this Warriors team because he can get whatever he wants on the floor. And he finally is showing that he wants to do that. And so going into the playoffs, I think that's a pretty big thing for this team. But you know, the other thing is you can't really trust Wiggins to consistently give you this. So right now he's been playing out of his mind, but in 3-4 games, will he continue that? He has to prove that he can. So that's where I'm at. I think Kuminga is a good player, but Andrew Wiggins, I think, is playing him right off the floor, or at least out of the starting lineup, because on top of Wiggins, Trayce has been fantastic, and he's been playing great defense alongside Draymond. And the spacing, the vertical spacing that he provides Steph and Clay in the starting lineup, it just does wonders. And the rebounding that he provides, he fits better in the starting lineup than Kuminga, in my opinion. It sucks that Jonathan is kind of always on the short end of the stick, but you can't look at this starting lineup right now and think that Kuminga's a better fit than Wiggins, even Clay, who's been playing good basketball overall. I know tonight, again, shot a little bit inefficiently, but I still think Clay's played very solid basketball these last 2-3 weeks since starting to come off the bench. And then Trayce is he just changes things. He should be starting. So, yeah, man. Really like how Wiggins has played. Hopefully this continues for him. Chris Paul. I've talked about Chris Paul a few times in the last couple of videos with the Warriors, but the number one thing with Chris Paul, like I said in that Spurs game, is the tertiary scoring. It's just getting other guys that don't really score much to give you some extra offense. no matter how minuscule it may be, you just need some offense. And Chris Paul, his offense, it feels like is peaking at the perfect time. He's been really trying to score. He's been very aggressive in scoring. He doesn't seem as hesitant as he was early in the season, where he was more of a playmaker. I mean, he's still obviously the playmaker, but he was more looking to pass at all times than he was to score. Even when he had open looks, he was making an extra pass that he probably shouldn't have, that in past Chris Paul years, he'd have tried to make the shot. Early in the season, new team, new role, makes sense. But right now, Chris Paul is playing great basketball, man. He gave you 14 points tonight on 6 of 11 shooting, on top of the 5 assists, no turnovers, so already giving you Chris Paul basketball. But then the 14 extra points is just huge, man. Hit 2 threes. He's been playing great. And even if he gives you 10 points, 9, 8 points, that's still a punch off the bench that you just didn't really have. And I'm loving it. I'm loving it. And, you know, now you're seeing Podziemski, the 10 rebounds, 5 assists, 5 points. He hit a pretty big 3 at the end of the third quarter. Moses Moody has really solidified himself into this rotation. He's giving you 12 points, 4 of 8 from the field, 4 of 6 from 3, where he actually hit, for the first time in his career that I've seen, Moses Moody hit a, off dribble, fading 3-point shot, kind of like Steph, kind of like Clay coming off of the screen. So that was pretty big. And he's also a good rebounder, very good on-ball defender. He got the cookies off of Kyrie Irving, I think twice in this game. He's just been playing really well too. So I'm loving what I'm seeing right now from the defense, but you're getting that tertiary scoring, and it's starting with Chris Paul, and Chris Paul is playing fantastic basketball, and I think he's peaking at the right time for this team. And going into the playoffs, that's going to be pretty big because Chris Paul, aside from Steph, Clay, and Draymond, has the most experience in these moments than anyone, right? And anyone on this roster. So very excited with how he's played, and hopefully this continues for the rest of the season. He got that little finger injury, right? He was out a few months. So I think Chris Paul's a little more energized than he would have been otherwise if he had played all the games that he had to play. And hopefully that helps as well. And I think because he's not playing so many minutes like he was in Phoenix, where he was playing like 35, 40 minutes, now he's only playing 20. And I think his longevity is going to be a lot better going into the playoffs for this team. So I'm really excited. I love how the Warriors are playing right now. It was very doom and gloom like a week ago, but I think the Warriors have turned that corner, which surprised me. I think it's surprising you guys. They're peaking at the right time on both ends of the floor, even tonight again. Maybe not both ends of the floor, because tonight the shooting was a little rough. They did shoot 47% from 3, but 45% from the field. Steph and Clay kind of had rough nights offensively, but you're getting picked up by the other guys, and that's what you need. That's what the Warriors didn't have. It was like if Steph had a bad night, it's a loss. Now, if Steph has a bad night, Wiggins is giving you 20, Chris Paul's giving you 10, Mo's giving you 10, Trace and Pods are both giving you 5+ a night, Draymond's giving you 10+ a night. Like, you're just getting picked up by everybody. Gary gave you 8 tonight. I mean, you love to see it. This is how the Warriors should be playing. Everybody needs to contribute everywhere. So, I'm loving it right now. Next up for the Warriors is against the Rockets, who are on a 2-game losing streak. Now, they were the hottest team in basketball, but like I said, they have lost 2 in a row here. Still a very tough matchup. They're a very athletic, fast team. Jalen Green's playing fantastic basketball. It's going to be tough. They're going to really run the Warriors, even though the Warriors want to run. It's still going to be kind of a shock to the system, I bet. Plus, it's on the road. So, you're going to need to come to play for that one. Then you got Dallas right after that on a back-to-back, so you're facing Luka and Kyrie again, who are probably going to want revenge, and Derek Lively may or may not be back as well, so that's going to be a little bit of an issue too. But after that, on the 7th, you face the Jazz. They're on a 10-game losing streak. The Jazz have just not played well. Obviously, they're rebuilding. You have the Lakers on the 9th. Blazers have also been horrendous. They play on the 11th. Pelicans, Jazz to close the season. So you're down to your final 8 games. You got a few tough games here on this schedule, but I think the Warriors have the opportunity here to end on a very, very strong note. So I'm really excited. I'm really excited to see how this whole rest of the season shakes out for them. And with that being said, I will see you guys after that video against the Rockets. So, yeah, if you like the video, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know your thoughts below, Warriors fans. And, yeah, man, have a good rest of your week. Peace.